What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the objective Shapeshifter Bartra. He has gone from a centre-back to a striker. This is probably the biggest move that you'll get in these Shapeshifters. It's unheard of most of the time, but it's actually a fun, different kind of card. I love these. Obviously, these were FUT birthday last year and the year prior, but I love the position changes. They're always fun. It adds a different element to the game. And whenever you're going to use a striker Bartra in the game, and actually this one's a lot it's not necessarily easier, but I mean you've still got to play the games. What I do like, and what I think they should include in FUT champs and drafts as well, potentially, is, as you can see, assist took 2 goals using La Liga forwards in 2 separate squad battle matches on professional difficulty or rivals. That is much better. I feel like a lot of these objectives should be compatible through all the game modes. Yes, draft may be a little bit one out there. Maybe take that off and just put FUT champs, rivals, and squad battles. Or if they are rival wins, or FUT champ wins. I just think it just makes the game a little bit easier to grind, because if you think about it, if you look at all of this, so you've got to play 2 matches, yeah, you can do that in anything. You've got squad battles, rivals to do that. You've got predominantly squad battles and then quite a few rival wins. You've got, again, rivals, and squad battles. Squad battles mainly on Daniel James. You've got rivals here. You've got squad battles here. You've got then a mixture of squad battles and rivals. No FUT champ rewards or anything like that. No drafts at all. Again, squad battles, rivals. There's a lot of just specific game modes, and I think that's something that we need to address, if anything, for next year, if they're not going to do it too much on this year, is you've got to give everybody the chance to be able to grind the 30 matches of FUT champs, but also get their objective card as well. A lot of people cannot do 30 games of FUT champs on the weekend anyway, let alone then trying to do an extra, say, 10 to 20 games on your objectives also. So I think it's a nice step in the right direction. For this guy, obviously, the loan version is what I'm using today. Score 2 goals using Spanish players in 2 squad battle matches on semi-pro. You've also got score chip goal with a La Liga player in 2 separate squad battles or rivals and professional. You've got the assist 2 goals using La Liga. You've got score using La Liga players and assist using a Bundesliga in 3 squad battle matches. Obviously, you can do all of these at the same time if you really wanted. And then you've got score in 8 separate rival wins using Spanish players. So I'm guessing you've got, I don't know if you've got a score with the Spanish players on that one, because it's normally score using a Spanish player. So I'm guessing you've got to have at least a Spanish player in your team. Could be wrong, let me know down below on that one, but I think that wording's a bit poorly, because this is the ones that confuse me. Have you got a score in 8 separate rival wins with a Spanish player or using a Spanish player? So is there one just in your team? I'll have a look at that. I can imagine they mean score with a Spanish player. That's what I'm getting from that one anyway. But we have got Bartra in the team already. We are using him in FUT champs, so we're going for a massive risk here, but I think it's all good for the content. I like to see what these players can do in FUT champs, and to be honest, I only stay gold free anyway. I don't particularly want to go above and beyond on these, especially at this moment in time for FUT champs. I just don't think it's worth it, in my opinion, to really have that mental gap to go from gold free to then elite. It just takes a lot more time, but then it also takes a lot out of you. You've really got to go into the gameplay, and sometimes it's just not your day, and that can be more frustrating than anything. 6 foot Bartra is. He's right-footed with a high medium. He is a 3-star, and he's not going to be the greatest striker in the world. I can already tell that, but it's a little bit of a fun card. It's something different. I probably will try and grind this card out. I didn't do Acuna, mainly because I have another version of him in Futmas, but I just didn't really have the time to be able to grind that many Argentinian wins as well. Even though I had Messi, which is the perfect card to use, really, I just didn't really bother with him. 87 acceleration, 83 sprint speed. I think that's actually respectable for him. You could even go as far as moving a centre-back out of position and putting him as a centre-back. Whack a shadow on him and you've got a card that can do everything pretty much, but striker version anyway. 80 finishing, which is poor. That's why I've had to whack a sniper on at the very least to get that plus 15. He's got good attacking positioning, long shots and shot power, which is always nice. Agility and balance is a respectable 80 plus. I can deal with that. Good composure, decent ball control, very good reactions. Strength and aggression's nice. 80 stamina I can deal with. Fantastic jumping. If this card was in the meta of last year, it'd actually be sick, because heading was a thing, and this guy could definitely do it. He also has his defensive stats up there as well, which is always nice, and a decent pass. So we're going to see how he goes. We're going to partner him up with Messi up front and Neymar there. We do have Mbappe on the bench just in case we do go down, and I really think that we can get the win. But for now, we're going to jump into this. We are going to come up against, I think this is our 7th or 8th FUT Champs game. We've got a bronze centre forward, which I can imagine he's going to change. Van Dijk, Varane, Van der Sar. It's a nice midfield. It's a solid team. It's a very solid team. I don't know where he's getting his strikers from, unless he's putting Neymar up front and swapping out somebody, which I can imagine he's got to do. I can't see him using that bronze centre forward, but he may. I don't know if he's doing a certain road to glory. No, he's not, of course. So let's jump in. Oh, he's managed to get that in. I thought Van Dijk would have got that out, but it's just a lucky ball through. We moved the defender out of position, and Van Dijk's just not quick enough to get that. Bartra is very, very clunky. Oh, he's done it again. Is it the post? Oh, we managed to get it out. My button's sticking for some reason. Bartra into Zidane. Oh, and he's just chipped it over. Bartra on the run. Oh, don't give me the speed up lag now. Oh, Bartra nearly getting something, but the speed up lag definitely cut his chances out there. It did look like the defender did get back to him pretty quickly anyway, but it would have still been nice to try and get a shot off with him. I feel like we may have to swap him out. He's really not that sort of striker. Close. We'll give him a couple of. We'll probably give him to half time at the minute, just because I want to see how he can actually do in this match. But I feel like he is a rivals player, if anything, because he's very, very clunky. He's practically a centre back at a striker. It's like you can change the position, but everything about him. Kubo's going to get a goal here. I can see it. No, he's not. You can change the player in the position, but without a massive upgrade, he's just not going to be much different in comparison. So the first half's done. Bartra is definitely coming out in FUT Champs. I'll probably play another Rivals match and maybe another one after that, because predominantly he's doing nothing. He's a very clunky striker, and it's what we knew he was going to be. We knew he was going to be that very big striker. He's probably good to hold the ball up, but in terms of trying to actually dribble past people, it's just not going to happen. So we learned in that first match that Bartra is not the way to go. We did end up losing that in extra time to an unbelievable goal. It was very, very frustrating, because who knows, if we started that game without Bartra on, we may have actually got into it. But we're going into Rivals now instead. We're going to see how he comes up against other Rivals teams. Hopefully we come up against an objective team, because he's just too clunky. He really is too clunky to use. He's a fun card, don't get me wrong. That's all he's designed for. He's not designed to be the next Mbappe striker. Why have we got this going on? That needs to go. There we go. So we're coming up against Rashford, Werner, Ali. It's a good team. It's very average. So it's a team that hopefully he can produce a little bit more. Bartra puts in Zidane. Oh, he's trying to get Bartra back in, but didn't quite work off on that one. Oh, and Werner scored that. Didn't go across. I thought he was going to pass it. But we look like we're going to probably do something to him if we can actually keep the ball with Bartra. That would be nice. And he's got a rebound goal as well. Fantastic. Bartra laying in Messi. He's going to get absolutely obliterated by Digne. And then Messi's going to get himself a goal back. That's much better right there. And he gets another rebound. EA. Bartra just does not get involved in that striking role whatsoever. Honestly, Bartra, maybe he'd be a fun card. I think for me, this is the first time I've actually considered getting the weekly objective player and actually just putting him into an SBC. There is no use for him, really. We're going to give him one more shot to see if he can actually do anything. It's going to take a pretty crap team to be able to do anything with him. Honestly, he's just not fun. Like, I like the idea of him, and I think it was a bit of a far-fetched going from a centre-back to a striker, but it was worth the effort. I do feel like he is somewhat okay, but in terms of a striker, honestly, I'd much rather use a gold 81. It just is too clunky. It's far too clunky for this game, and especially with the players that are coming out in this game now. For instance, you look at the rest of this team, pretty much half of them, maybe if you pick 5 of them and then you include the bench, most people have them. Most people are better strikers, forwards, better than him in the defence to go against him. That's just how it's going to be. So we're going to hope to get someone not of a high standard. I can imagine we're going to get someone really good now I've said that. But that's what you're going to need for him to be able to do anything, really. That's just unfortunately the way it goes. So looking at this next team, we are coming up against... Okay, so he's got a La Liga. It's nice. I like that Jovic now. I've played with him again. Actually, not as bad as I thought. I can't remember if I played him before the patch, or before the big patch anyway, and I didn't like him at all. After that, he's not bad. He's definitely improved in my opinion. It's a La Liga team. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully Bartra can score, or at least do something. He's really not had many shots over the past 2 games. Obviously the first game we subbed him out at half time, and then the second game I think pretty much he didn't do anything anyway, really. Bartra, Ramos just, or was that PK, just coming back enough to be able to stop that. One thing he is good at, heading the ball. That's predominantly what you can kind of guarantee from him, is he has got 99 jumping, and he is a defender as such, so he is going to be good at heading the ball. Way, Bartra with a little fake shot. Dink. No chance. Oh, Bartra nearly getting in on there. We are trying so hard to just get at least 1 goal with him. And that's another half done. Honestly, I'm just not having fun with him. So going into Bartra's overall review, honestly, if you have not got the time to do this card, don't worry about it. Literally do not worry about it. He's not going to fit anybody's team. Personally, you could put Aspas up front and he'd be better. Even just a generic gold card. He's very, very clunky. So we're not just going to absolutely slate this card, because I like the collection value of this card. Not necessarily being able to use him. He's nice to have on a bench. You could bring him on as a centre-back, really. Put a shadow on him and he's just as good as a centre-back, really. I just generically would not put this guy up front in the slightest. I wouldn't even... I could probably say CDM at a push, but he's just too clunky. Even with the agility and balance at quite a decent rating, he's so slow to turn. As a striker, he's not efficient enough. You can't do it. There's 85s, there's 84 gold cards that can do it better. So for me, if you're going to get this card purely based on that you need another striker, a Spanish striker or anything like that, don't bother with it. It's too much of a grind to go and do that. If you're looking for the value of this card as just another card in your club, an SBC card maybe, something along them lines, then do it. I think, yes, it's not a bad objective to do, and I think if he had the objectives like Acuna last week, I would 100% stay away from him, because 4 of his objectives are squad battles and one of them is a rivals match, which you have to win 8 matches. Again, it is a bit of a grind for that one, but you can kind of do that without anyone like that in your team. You can just use a Spanish striker and just play through the ranks. That literally is nothing. You can drop down to Division 10 and just do it pretty much 8 back to back. Again, it's very easy. Apart from that, there's not much else to say about him. Honestly, as a striker, I'd probably give him a 2 or 3 out of 10. I genuinely really had a miserable time with that card, and I don't say that a lot about these cards, because a lot of the time they're decent, they're nice, but for me, I just didn't have fun with him. It could have been the opponents I played. It really could have been that they were just too good for this card. Maybe if I dropped down a couple of divisions, I just came up against a lucky opponent who wasn't quite as good, because the teams necessarily weren't godlike. Like, there were some teams that realistically had some decent players, but not amazing. We didn't see the prime moment Rio, the 99 Van Dijk. We didn't see anyone that meta. We saw a few, but nothing to that standard. So if he can't even beat the screen PKs, then what chance has he got against the best centre-backs in the game? Granted, that's not what this card is made for. He's made for the fun element of him, just for a different position. Like I said, I would go with predominantly a CDM role or a centre-back role if I was with you. I genuinely wouldn't go with a striker role for him. But hey ho, we live and learn. It's another one down. We're going to be doing another one later today. I may even get 2 done. It all depends on what comes out tonight. It may be that if I do go out, the 6 PM content will be tomorrow, and we'll obviously put another Shapeshifter in that place. So hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of Bartra. Will you use him, or are you just going to get him for maybe an SBC? Apart from that, like and subscribe. Peace.